Hello and welcome to my Unlock Journal. If you're new here, my name is Zach, and I usually make vinyl set episodes in this channel, and I love to explore hidden gems from different countries and eras. And this episode is the first in this new series, where I will go through a bunch of different records that I own, and I will talk briefly about the genre, the era, and the artist, while I show you the albums. And today we'll do Japanese Citypop and Synth Pop from 70s and 80s. I will put a link down below of the audio tracks so you can listen to them. Because of the copyright issues, I won't be playing any of the songs in this video. Also, I will talk briefly about specifically Japanese records and pressings, and the question I've been asked a lot, how do I find them? So what's special about Japanese records and pressings compared to the other countries? Well, first and foremost, the quality. By the mid-60s, Japan was known for producing high-quality cameras and stereo equipment, among other things. In general, Japanese record companies use high-quality virgin vinyl, and they are much quieter than those made elsewhere from recycled vinyl. Also, the record companies paid strong attention to the mastering and pressing processes, trying to produce the best sounding record possible, so you won't hear a lot of unintentional distortion. Secondly, the packaging. The printing and the papers are generally high quality. The jackets are usually sturdy and very well constructed. And of course, we cannot talk about Japanese records without mentioning the obi strips. The word obi translates as belt or sash. It's a strip of paper that wraps around the jacket, usually located on the left-hand side. It has all kinds of useful information in Japanese about the album and the artist and promotional material. And because they are easy to lose or damage, the records with obi tend to be somewhat rare and makes them very valuable and important to collectors. And they also look very pretty. Aside from the obi, Japanese records usually have lyric sheets with photos. Some of them even include the making of photos, which is always very fun to look at. So how do I discover new artists? And how do I find the actual records? Even though I'm a little upset with YouTube because they took down some of my vinyl set videos, it's a big ocean full of amazing gems. So I check YouTube nearly every day to discover new artists and albums. Sometimes the recommended videos may surprise you and introduce you to a whole new world. Then I go to Discogs or to Google to find out more about the artist, the genre or the era. And with time I managed to find some UK sellers on Discogs. And mainly for the reissues, I also use eBay to make purchases. For the unused records, I visit Mr. Bongo quite a lot. They are UK-based record label. They have a wide range of African and Brazilian records. And also I visit HHV, the German record shop. I purchase online from there as well. And other than that, I try to go to the record fairs and the local record shops. Kimiko Kasai is actually a jazz singer. She recorded numerous jazz albums, though her later albums were more a mix of jazz fusion, smooth jazz, and pop. Although she recorded mostly in English, she has recorded several albums in Japanese like Umbrella and Tokyo Special. This is My Love from CBS Sony in 1975. Favorite track is A1, Use Me. We Can Fall in Love from CBS Sony, 1976. Favorite tracks are A1, We Can Fall in Love, written by Kimiko Kasai, and A2, In Common. Tokyo Special from CBS Sony in 1977. Favorite tracks are A1 track written by Tatsuro Yamashita and B1 track Tokyo Special written by Shiro Mori. Taeko Oniki formed Sugar Babe in 1973 with Tatsuro Yamashita and Kunio Muramatsu. Her solo career started in '76 and she released her first solo album, Grey Skies.
Sun Shower from Panam, 1977, is the second studio album of Taeko Oniki. Favorite track, Summer Connection, written by Oniki, arranged by Ryuichi Sakamoto. Minyan from RCA, 1978, third studio album of Taeko, and all the songs are written by her, and many of the songs arranged by Ryuichi Sakamoto. Favorite tracks are A1, B2, and B4. Cliché from RCA, 1982. This is sixth studio album of Taeko Oniki. French piano player and composer of several film music scores, Jean Musi was involved in the album with Ryuichi Sakamoto. Favorite tracks are A2, A3, and A4. Sorry for my French accent, but Signifie from Dear Heart, 1983. This is the seventh solo album of Taeko Oniki. This synth pop and new wave album is produced by Oniki and Miyata Shigeki. Minako Yoshida is the younger sister of Tamotsu Yoshida, which was the recording engineer for Tatsuro Yamashita, like Spacey album, and also Melodies album from 1986. I have Minako's 10th album, which is called In Motion. In Motion from Alpha 1983, second live album of Minako Yoshida, recorded live at Roppongi Pit-In, but it was later edited by adding horn sections, which was arranged by Yasuaki Shimizu. Akiko Yano recorded her debut album, Japanese Girl, primarily in Los Angeles. She began collaborating with Yellow Magic Orchestra. They continued to play on her next recording projects and invited Yano to join them on two of their worldwide tours. Tokimeki is Akiko Yano's third studio album, released in 1978. This was Akiko Yano's first self-produced work. It's recorded in New York with Will Lee on the bass and other local musicians. Hideki Matsutake participated as the synthesizer programmer. Kohanga Deki Tayo is the fourth studio album and the sixth album in total, released in 1980 from Tokuma, Japan. Akiko collaborated with Yellow Magic Orchestra in this album, and she was participating in world live tours of Yellow Magic Orchestra. However, the Yellow Magic Orchestra name does not appear in the credits of the album, and they are credited with their individual names. Although the synthesizer sounds are used more frequently than the previous work, Tokimeki, Yano's acoustic piano performance continues to be used at key points. Apparently, some early copies have incorrectly printed inner sleeves with a different track order. A small card noting the mistake is included with these copies. Tadaima, which means I'm home, is the fifth studio album of Akiko Yano, released in 1981 from Japan Records. The album is co-produced by Ryuichi Sakamoto and it's centered on techno-pop sounds that use a lot of synthesizer. Again, members of Yellow Magic Orchestra are participating in the album. Hibari Children's Choir also participating in the first and the second songs. The album cover is a work of Teruhiko Yumura. Aigana Kuchane is Akiko Yano's sixth studio album, released in 1982. It's another album featuring the Yellow Magic Orchestra members. The album was recorded in London with the members of Yellow Magic Orchestra and the English New Wave Band, Japan. Tatsuro Yamashita produced much city pop music during the 70s to 80s and was considered the king of the genre. He sometimes collaborated with his wife Maria Takeuchi, that you may know from Plastic Love. In 1973, Yamashita formed the band Sugar Babe with Taeko Oniki and Kunio Muramatsu. After the group disbanded in 1976, Yamashita signed to RCA and launched his own career with release of the solo album Circus Town. Yamashita has released 17 studio albums, and he has been one of the most commercially successful Japanese male solo recording artists in the history of the Japanese album chart. Spacey was released in 1977 from RCA, and it was his second studio album. Many people say it's Tatsuro's best album. Tatsuro did the arrangement of the album. He also took part in the recordings of backing vocals, guitar, harmonica, keyboard, percussion, and sitar. The illustration on the cover created by Peter Sato, who also made the cover illustrations of Circus Town, It's a Pop in Time, and Go Ahead. For You is the sixth album and released in 1982. The 80s were the good times for Japan, so it's no surprise that the music of the time reflected that. The saxophone solos, heavy bass lines. Tatsuro says, "My dream from the days of Sugar Babe that I want to record as much as I want without worrying about the budget. And time has finally come true with this album." The cover illustration is from Hideto Suzuki. My favorite track is Sparkle, and you can hear Minako Yoshida in the backing vocals. Yumi Arai, also known as Yumi Matsutoya, has been commercially successful with more than 42 million records sold. She started her career under her birth name Yumi Arai. After marrying her musical collaborator Masataka Matsutoya in 1976, Arai began recording under her married name and has continued to do so. Miss Slim is the second album of Yumi Arai from 1974. Masataka Matsutoya, who was the keyboard player of Tin Pan Alley, arranged all of her songs in this album. The cover photo was taken at the Italian restaurant Chianti in Tokyo, and the piano in the photo was also belonged to the owner of the restaurant. My favorite song is B1 track Anata Dake no Mono, and in the backing vocals you can hear Minako Yoshida, Taeke Oniki, and Tatsuro Yamashita. Mai Yamane's career started at the very beginning of the 80s when she participated in a Young Sisters contest in Japan. 6 months later, she finished her first album, Tasogare. Tasogare, the debut album of Mai Yamane, was produced by Makoto Matsushita, who also co-produced her second album, Sorry. In 2019, a sample of her song, Tasogare, has taken over the internet as producer Pierre Bourne, hip-hop artists Young Nudie and Playboy Carti use it on their unofficial track Piece of Pamper/Kid Cudi. The song went #1 on Spotify before quickly being taken down. Sorry is the second album of Mai Yamane in 1981. A-side arranged by Shigeru Suzuki and the B-side by Makoto Matsushita. Timely, the sixth album of Anri, produced by Toshiki Kodamatsu in 1983. My favorite tracks are A1, A2, and B2. Kangaroo, A Night in New York. Japanese fusion band Kangaroo debuted in 1983 and disbanded in 1986. They released 4 albums. A Night in New York was their last album and it released in 86. Favorite tracks are A1 and A3. Yuji Ono. Japanese jazz musician Ono is known for his musical scoring of Japanese anime television series. Space Kid was released in 1978 from CBS Sony, is a concept album which prefigures the feature sound of You and the Explosion Band, formed for the original soundtrack of Lupin III. Favorite tracks are A2, A5, and B3. Michio Gawa. Michio participated in Chakra, Japanese pop, new wave and experimental band, as a vocalist from 1978. She released her debut solo album in 1984. The album produced by Ryomei Shirai. Favorite tracks are A1 and A3. Masayoshi Takanaka. Japanese guitarist, began his professional career in 1971 in a rock band called Fried Egg. In 1972, Takanaka joined the Sadistic Mika band. In 1976, he released his first solo album, Seychelles. In 2000, he formed his record label, Lagoon Records. Jungle Jane is the 13th album of Takanaka. Ryuichi Sakamoto was participating in the recording. Yoko Atanaka. Hakujitsumu is Japanese mono-rare group published in 1978. It's the debut album of Yoko Hatanaka, who worked as a Nikkatsu romantic pornographic actress. This Japanese mono-masterpiece album includes two great songs, A3 and A4, both with erotic vocal lines. Kumiko Hara, No Smoking, from Kitty Records 1977. This one here is a white label secret plain white sleeve, with a 4-page booklet. The album is featuring Ryuichi Sakamoto on keys and Masayoshi Takanaka on guitars. My favorite tracks are A1 and A2. Unhappy Birthday from Kitty Records in 1981. This is the third album by Kumiko Hara. Produced by Makoto Yano. The Great Boogie Soul A1 and A2, Mid Slow Boogie B2, also a good reggae funk B3 are my favorites. Yurie Kokubu, released 72 hours. A debut album released by the female singer and songwriter Yurie Kokubu in 1983. Produced by Tetsuji Hayashi, it became a masterpiece of Japanese city pop with a rich, powerful singing ability. Favorite tracks are A1, A3, A5, B1, B2, and B4.
So, that's the end of the first episode. Thank you so much for making it till the end. Next time, I will continue with more records, and I can also do a Q&A. So let me know if you have any questions in the comments, and feel free to leave feedback about this new format. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.